The biggest difference with recording Den of Thieves as opposed to House of Ill Fame is that we had a lot more time this time around in the studio.
Last time we had no idea what to expect, and you know, no idea how to get the results that we wanted, really. Just sort of stabbing in the dark in a lot of ways. But every band needs to go through that, you know.
On the House of Ill Fame, we did it like sporadically over a couple of years whenever we could get studio time. So we'd have like a 3-day session here and do 3 tracks, and a 4-day session there and do 4 tracks, and then another session and do another bunch of tracks. So it was all pretty quick.
Felt a lot different from the last one, being thrown into the studio for the first time, and this one sort of knowing what to expect in a way.
The biggest difference recording this record was that, I mean, I guess working with Jack Douglas again is, you know, we were so excited about it, you know, we really feel like we're making the next step.
And when we were making our list of producers, we were looking at the backs of all of our favorite records, and his name was, we looked at Rocks and saw Jack Douglas say, oh, send him some demos. He'll never call us back. He ended up, I guess, calling our manager, Larry John-Angus, and then ended up calling John-Angus. So John-Angus got a call from Jack Douglas one night in our hotel room, so we were all kind of like, holy shit, that's Jack Douglas, man.
I first heard of the Trews through my agent, Hernando Cartwright. He called me up and said, there's this band in Toronto, and they want you to maybe check them out up in Vancouver. I was in Los Angeles. I flew up to Vancouver. It was very exciting.
He was really a really nice, laid-back guy, and he made us feel really comfortable right from the first day we were with him. He loves to joke around, and he's just a regular guy like us.
You know, he doesn't have a rule book or any kind of strict regimen he makes the bands go through or anything. It's just like let them be themselves and let them get comfortable and do their thing, which we really appreciated. It was never a big deal, you know. I mean, some of the takes that you thought were terrible were the ones that he ended up liking the best because they kind of had that natural musicality where, you know, instead of being metronomically perfect, it just had a moment or had something about it that made it original.
Yeah, I learned lots of tricks. I mean, he obviously has worked with the greats like John Lennon and Steven Tyler and, you know, Roger Daltrey, and he'd tell me like different tricks they use to keep their voice in the studio.
Colin McDonald. Everybody that I play the record for is stunned by his voice, and I was too the first time I heard it. He is unbelievable. When I push him, he's like a Ferrari, you know. And you push it just a little bit, it comes to life again, and it gives you a little bit more. He's got so much power, but if you're working with it, that's when you really get to respect it. How much he can do. So it's fun, you know, working with him. You know, he goes so far, then you give him a little breather. He gets his energy back, and then he goes even further. His range, his lower range, is rich, and then as it goes up into a scream, into the high RPMs, it just comes on like a turbocharger. Rod Stewart wishes he had this kid's voice.
I learned to let go a little bit more, because a lot of times you're playing your best when you don't think you are, when you don't know that you are. It's not like plotting out or composing parts too much. It's just try to catch a natural take, just sort of jamming along, and, you know, let him use his discretion and his ears to sort of pick out what he thinks might be the best, a lot of the best parts.
John-Angus is the back. When I'm working, I know I can look over and John-Angus gives me a read on, you know, if it's cool, if it's like, this is how I get to know the band, is through someone in the band. You know, he sets the taste and he sets the bar for the band. You know, he's a really super solid player. He gets a good sound, but aside from his playing, it's how he drives the band, you know, quietly and without any drama, that I think is a big part of why this band is where it is now.
I really like
Jack Siprick doesn't remind me of anyone that I've worked with in the past. He is probably one of the most original characters I've worked with, one of the hardest to read, and one of the most talented. The funny thing about Jack is that he's not just a bass player. I don't even think of him as a bass player. He's more like an entity. he comes in at the very last minute to give his opinion when it's really too late, and then he throws you this bomb that's a brilliant idea. But he waits until the very end. I mean, there's not another instant left. And his playing is not... He's not like a bass player who just kind of sits with the bass drum and locks up and grooves. He's like the cello and the bass section of an orchestra. Jack, he's a target that's hard to hit. He's constantly in motion. When I first saw a video of Sean Dalton, I thought, these guys have the best looking, sexiest looking drummer in the business. He's going to be one of these drummers that's really underrated, because he does it. He's very easy with it, and he doesn't overplay. I'm not going to compare him with Joey Kramer, but Joey is also really underrated and never overplays. Just plays what's necessary for the part. The thing about drummers like this is that they have an internal clock that is right on the money. If the chorus should move a little bit, it moves a little bit. The band goes with them, and then if he wants to pull it back into a verse, he lets it drop into a verse. That is a gift from God. That's the drum god.
Jack just sort of let us do whatever we wanted on this record. Whatever we felt like doing, he allowed us to do, and we just followed whatever whim came in whatever we thought a certain song should sound like, as opposed to being like, oh no, the Trews are like this rock band that plays simple rock and roll songs. We have tons of those in the record too, but he let us, mature and take risks and try some different things that we never tried before, and I think they came out really, really well.
The world is totally ready for the Trews, actually. As rock and roll starts to overtake hip-hop on the charts, this is what they're waiting for.
What?